Hey, it's Dr. Oniglin here, web programming, and coming to you this fine day. And this is Debugging Essentials. And because my students use JS Fiddle, I'm going to actually do the debugging with JS Fiddle. It won't make any difference whether you're using other types of tools or not. It's going to be the same thing. So what I did for this example, I've already written, I have a button with an on-click that will call a function in JavaScript, which is down here. If I run this right now and I click me, it's going to throw up this embedded page, this alert up here, and the alert doesn't make a lot of sense. And then it throws something to the output right here. So this is just one of those common errors that students make when they're writing code, and I want to show you how to fix these things, how to look at them. Let's go down to the code here, and what I did is in the code I made a variable D, which is the div. Var D is actually document get element by ID output. And if you look up here, this is a div, which is a div with the ID of output. And then I set its inner HTML to be some output of the document. But when I get down here to this lower section, what I was trying to do is I was trying to add A, B, or C to, in this case, B from an array, onto the end of that. So basically tacking on some stuff. So what I did was then I did put D plus equals A of I, which will be the value of B. And then I put up an alert. But if you notice, the alert didn't say this is some document, output to document B. It said object. So that's a fairly common error. Now, what can I do to debug this? This is really what the video is about. Well, first thing I can do is I can throw in good old debugger statement, which will stop execution at that spot and let you look at it. Great thing to know. Throwing that little debugger in there, what you can do. So let's run this again. Let's hit click me, and oops, okay, nothing really happened there. Well, what do you got to do? Well, you got to show the debugger. Now, I just have barely enough room on the screen. I'm going to throw that off the screen, so I've got a little bit more room. I just barely have enough room to fit everything in here. I'm going to do the good old Control-Shift-I, which brings up the debugger, and I'm going to hit run, which actually brings up the programming tools. I'm going to click the click me, and if you notice, it stopped right here at that debugger statement right there. Now, that number one thing to know, how to stop execution and go into the code. Now, once you're in the code, oh, I have a breakpoint here. I got to go ahead and clear it. Once you're in the code, okay, and I just went ahead and started the execution again. But once you're in the code, you can do things. So let's run this one more time here. Let's go ahead and click me. It goes to the debugger. Now, these little guys right down here, step over. Okay, so you got some things that it'll do. Step into the next function call, step out of the current function call. But this is the one I use the most frequently, step. If I click step, it goes to the next line. Now, that's useful, but even more useful is like, okay, I can look and see what D is. Well, if I hover over D, I can see, now there's other ways to do this. I could actually put it down here and I could put a watch down here, but right now I'm just going to do the hovering method. So I'm not going to cover the watch. Now that you know that it's there, you can find it. Look at these tools. There's a lot more to learn, but right now, that hovering over this, I can say, oh, look, D, div pound output. Oh, it's div named output. And inner HTML is just a method of that. A is an array. Right now it's undefined. But if I step to the next one, after that line's executed, I can hover over A, and I can actually see, hover. I can see the values A, B, and C at 0, 1, and 2, and the length of 3. So isn't that nice? Then I have this D plus or minus A of 1, which I could even, let's see that A of 1 is equal to the B. I will go to the next line, and then the alert will pop up. The alert says object HTML div element with the B tacked onto the end there. Because that's what I did. D is a div. It's an object. It's an HTML div element, and the fact that I tacked a B onto the end of it, it's just saying, okay, well, guess what? The string B tacked onto an HTML div element shows up as that object HTML div element with a B at the end. And there's the alert that I get. All right, well, that's one way to do this. Okay, now here's something else I'm going to do. I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to pull that. Well, first thing, I'm going to take this and I'm going to click on it, or I can go right and put add breakpoint. Let me go ahead and remove the breakpoint. I can right click and say add breakpoint. And actually, you can see there's log points, other things too. Again, short video. I'm going to keep this underneath 10 minutes so that you can see some of the tools. You need to learn the tools, but I want the crucial tools. The breakpoint is a crucial tool. So let's go back over here and run this again. So I go back to run, resets everything. I hit click me. Now look, I still got the debugger. Okay, well, I want to get rid of that. So let's go ahead and jump through the whole thing, and voila. Now let's go back down here to the code. Let's take the debugger statement out. Okay, now it's done. It's gone. I hit run. I hit the click me. Debugger's gone, but it stopped at the line that I put the breakpoint in. And now I can step through the code again. So these right there, you've got essentially the most crucial stuff that you need to know: how to stop code execution and look at variables. Also, I can go over here to the watch screen and put in watch expressions. So let's say I want to just watch what D is. And I can keep, so there it is, D is a div output. Okay, I can throw these down here so I can actually see as I'm going along what different watch elements, what different variables, so I can watch things. Again, running a little bit low on time here, but to make this a quick video, the crucial things that you need to know. Where is the debugger? Okay, Control-Shift-I, boom. I got the debugger over there. I've got it. Okay, that's an easy way to get to it. By the way, it's in the menu, so you can go do the settings and go to the menu to get to the console right here. But Control-Shift-I takes you there very quickly. You need to be able to throw a debugger into your code, the statement debugger, which will stop execution and let you look at what you're doing. You should know how to go ahead and set a breakpoint. Okay, that was pretty easy to do. Right click, add breakpoint, and load. You got add conditional breakpoint, log point. So there's a lot of things that you can do there. The next thing you've got is that ability to step through code. Okay, there are the little step, guys that I just turned the breakpoint on. There's little step capabilities right down here. And the last piece is the ability to look at the different variables that you've got in the code and be able to hover over them and look at them, or possibly add them to your watch down here. Those are the crucial things that you need to know for debugging. All of my students that work in JS Fiddle or any JavaScript need to know those. Otherwise, you will spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's wrong with your code, and this is an easy way to figure it out. That's the end of this video. Good programming.